All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're tackling something that I think is on a lot of people's minds these days.
Keeping our brains healthy.
Yes, exactly. And we actually got a great video submission from a listener.
Oh, cool.
Stop dementia before it starts. Your brain's SOS signal. So
Yeah.
we're going to really unpack this and figure out what it takes to potentially prevent dementia.
I'm excited to dig into it.
Me too. It's fascinating stuff. And who doesn't want to, avoid losing their keys later in life?
Right. I mean, we all want to keep those brains sharp as long as we can.
Absolutely. So let's dive right in. One thing that really blew me away in the video was that statistic about exercise. It said that regular exercise can actually lower dementia risk by up to 50%.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
Huge. But what's actually happening in our brains when we exercise that makes it so impactful for cognitive health?
Well, it's not just about feeling good, right? Exercise actually triggers a whole cascade of beneficial changes in the brain. Like when you exercise, your brain gets flooded with this protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
BDNF.
Yeah, it's like fertilizer for your brain cells. It helps them grow
Yeah.
and thrive. And exercise also boosts blood flow to the brain, which means your brain's getting more oxygen and nutrients.
So it's like giving your brain a total upgrade.
Exactly. And there's even evidence suggesting that exercise can actually stimulate the birth of new neurons in certain parts of the brain.
Wow, that's amazing. The video also talked about the Mediterranean diet being beneficial for brain health. Is there something special about the foods in this diet that makes them so good for our brains?
You know, it really comes down to the unique combination of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds found in those foods.
Okay.
The Mediterranean diet really emphasizes fruits and vegetables, fish, olive oil, whole grains. All these foods provide the building blocks your brain needs to function optimally and fight off damage from things like oxidative stress.
It makes sense.
Mhm.
One thing that I know stresses me out is thinking about, well, stress. And the video talked about chronic stress actually speeding up cognitive decline.
Mm.
What's that connection between stress and brain health?
Right, so when we're stressed, our bodies release cortisol, which is a hormone that's helpful in short bursts, like in a fight or flight situation.
Right.
But if we're chronically stressed and cortisol levels remain high for prolonged periods, it can actually be really damaging to brain cells,
Oh, wow.
particularly in areas of the brain involved in learning and memory, like the hippocampus.
So what can we do to kind of combat that cycle of stress and protect our brains? I know the video touched on a few stress management techniques.
Yeah, there are a lot of great practices out there that can help regulate our stress response. Things like mindfulness, meditation, yoga. These have actually been shown to lower cortisol levels and improve brain function.
Okay, I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that are good for our brains, let's talk about sleep. The video really emphasized getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. It's more than just beauty sleep.
Way more. When we sleep, our brains are incredibly active.
Oh, really? I thought it was like shutting down.
Not at all. It's like cleanup time. During sleep, our brains are clearing out waste products that have built up throughout the day, including this protein linked to Alzheimer's called beta amyloid.
Oh, interesting.
And sleep is also when our brains consolidate memories, making those neural connections stronger.
I definitely feel more alert and focused after a good night's rest.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why. The video also talked about social interaction being super important for brain health. Why are those connections so crucial?
Well, think about it. Socializing challenges our brains. It keeps us engaged, mentally stimulated. We're constantly learning, adapting to new situations.
Right.
On the other hand, loneliness. That's been linked to cognitive decline and an increased risk of dementia. It seems our brains really thrive on those social connections.
It's like our brains are social butterflies. I guess that means my weekly trivia night is actually brain training in disguise.
Exactly. And building on that idea, the video even mentioned learning new things. Like it's creating fresh pathways in our brains.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, it's a good one. Our brains have this incredible ability called neuroplasticity, which basically means they can change and adapt throughout life. So when we learn new skills, like a new language, a musical instrument, a new hobby, we're actually creating new connections between brain cells, literally rewiring our brains.
That's incredible. It makes you want to sign up for a pottery class or something right now.
Right? There's always something new to learn. And speaking of things we might need to dust off, the video talked about sunshine and vitamin D deficiency.
Oh yeah, vitamin D isn't just for strong bones,
You
right?
know, it's crucial for brain health too. Vitamin D actually plays a role in a whole host of brain functions, including learning, memory, and protecting against cognitive decline.
Interesting.
So getting safe sun exposure or talking to your doctor about a supplement could be a good idea, especially if you're concerned about your vitamin D levels.
This is all so empowering. And I think it's important to acknowledge that the video was also very clear about the negative impact of things like smoking and excessive alcohol on the brain.
Right. Those habits can have a direct toxic effect on brain cells, and unfortunately, they can lead to serious cognitive problems down the road.
It's a good reminder to be mindful of our choices, not just for our physical health, but for our brain health as well.
Mm.
Okay, back to some fun stuff. I'm ready to break out the brain games after hearing about how good those are for us.
I love brain games. They're like cross-training for your brain.
That's a great way to put it.
They challenge you in so many different ways, helping to improve cognitive flexibility, problem-solving skills, memory.
So it's a green light for Sudoku, crossword puzzles, all of it. And last but not least, the video cautioned about the connection between certain health conditions like high blood pressure and diabetes and an increased risk of dementia.
Absolutely. Managing those conditions is vital for overall health, but it's especially important for brain health.
And how so?
Well, for example, high blood pressure can damage blood vessels in the brain, and diabetes can interfere with how the brain uses glucose for energy. So by managing these conditions effectively, you're also protecting your brain.
Wow. We really covered a lot today. It's amazing how many things we can actually do to protect our brains.
It really is. And you know what I think is most encouraging is that many of these things like exercise, stress management, sleep are completely within our control.
That's a great point. Small changes can make a big difference over time. So before we wrap up today, I want to ask you a question. What one thing from this deep dive will you commit to doing today to support your brain health?
Well, for me, it's all about consistency, small, sustainable changes that add up over time.
I love that. You heard it here, folks. Take charge of your brain health. It's never too early, and it's never too late to start incorporating some of these brain-boosting habits into your life.
Absolutely. And to our listener who submitted the video, thank you for the inspiration. We hope this deep dive was helpful.
Until next time, stay curious and keep those brains sharp.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.